Jr., a man that fought tirelessly for the rights and dignities of all people. His life and legacy remains impactful through the social changes and unity he brought to our nation. Tonight, a special basketball presentation from the campus of North Carolina A&T as the next generation of leaders take the court to honor Dr. King. The ideals and goals that Dr. King stood for continue to ripple through time as his iconic dream still lives on to this day. It's college basketball on CBS Sports Network here on the campus of North Carolina A&T, the Aggies, hosting the Hampton Pirates at Corbett Sports Center in Greensboro, North Carolina. This conference clash here in the CAA. And with that, we say good evening. Jordan Kent alongside NBA champion Avery Johnson. And Avery, before we get to the basketball, obviously a very special day as we honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And through the decades of your life, you've been able to really see that change throughout your time.
Absolutely. And Dr. Martin Luther King, a Morehouse College graduate, he really showed the world what type of person you can develop into when you graduate from an HBCU. And one of my favorite quotes from Dr. King is, fate is about taking a step, even if you can't see the stairway.
Hampton looking to take a step this season. A win tonight eclipses their win total from last season. North Carolina A&T, they've dealt with some injuries, but Avery, they can really fill it up when their offense is dialed in.
Yeah, North Carolina A&T, they need a third scorer, because when you're struggling to score, who's going to step up and be that third guy? And if they can get that third scorer, they'll have a chance to win this game tonight.
Hampton, George Beal started the season on the bench, but now inserted in the starting lineup, has been playing terrific.
Yeah, I love George Beal. He had 25 points in that first matchup December 3rd. He's back. He can score inside and out. He loves to play through contact, and he got range once he crosses half court.
You talked about North Carolina A&T needing a third scorer. They certainly have a primary scorer. Ryan Forrest, one of the top 35 scorers in all of college basketball. You love the way he continues to attack the cup.
Yeah, he loves to hunt shots. That's what I love about him. You don't have to worry about it as a coach when you get out of bed. He's going to deliver. They depend on him to score the basketball. He's shooting 27% from the three-point line, so if he can knock down some threes, it bodes well for his team.
The Hampton Pirates looking to plunder here in Greensboro, but North Carolina A&T, the students are back in town. The band is ready to roll, trying to pick up their first conference win as we celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Ivan Thomas, how about this? In his first season, one win away from eclipsing last year's win total, has completely changed the culture. Has talked about his team coming together and playing with a toughness and a unity that has been absent over the last couple of years. And obviously a Georgetown associate head coach spending some time in the Big East. Starting lineups for Hampton, Xavier Long has been quite the defensive weapon for the Pirates as of late. And then Stratos Kaliansis, the big fella from Greece, has had to fill a void where they've had some injuries that have depleted the front court for North Carolina A&T. The Aggies come into this game looking for their first conference victory. We mentioned some of the injuries they're dealing with. Nikos Hidakoutis, one of the other members from Greece that has done an excellent job rebounding the basketball and helping defend. For Monte Ross in his second season, he's really stressed the importance that defensively, we are doing all that we need to as an Aggie basketball team. On offense, Avery, we've got to hit our free throws down the stretch and be a little bit more efficient. That's been the difference in some of these close losses.
And Coach Ross talked about, they got to play and learn not to lose. He said we've lost some games that we've just given away, but we got to play more together and take care of the basketball in critical situations of the game.
45th meeting all time. Hampton won the earlier matchup this season. They win the tip, and they'll get things started. Hampton comes into this game 9-9 on the season, 2-4 in conference play. They go to the freshman who can't get it to fall, Richard Goods, big body youngster. No luck on that attempt.
And that's what Hampton wanted to do. They wanted to start inside with a cross screen, trying to get a deep paint catch. Caught it a little bit too far outside of the paint. And now with the North Carolina A&T Aggies, they tried to run a little bit of a lob play that they worked on this morning to start the game.
5 to shoot. Shell, no good. Good to see him back on the floor, though. He had an ankle injury in practice yesterday. Was 50-50 coming into the game. Goods, the catch, no good at the rim. Loose ball chased down by Landon Glasper.
And unfortunately, for Hampton, they're 0-2, basically inside the paint to start this game, and you got to make your layups.
Unfortunate turnover in the corner. Jonathan Lamoth could not handle it. So that'll give it right back to Hampton.
A lot of times when you're dealing with freshmen, you just don't know what's going to happen, especially on the road.
Hampton comes into this game with quite the rebounding advantage over North Carolina A&T. That was one area Monte Ross said we've got to be better, is rebounding the basketball, and so far they've done a fine job of that. Because
when you're talking about Hampton, their philosophy is to send 3, 4, and 5 to the glass. And defensive rebound is a big point of emphasis for North Carolina A&T. Inside, outside action, long 3. Rebound gathered by Beal. You mentioned George Beal. 10-plus points in 6 straight games. Starting to really find his groove on offense. But right now, both teams looking for their first bucket. Here's the 3. Off target, no good. Rebound corralled by Kaliansis. Here comes North Carolina A&T in transition. And that wasn't really a great shot. Those are the type of situations, you know, that Coach Thomas talked about, being patient, getting the ball from side to side, moving it. Another quick trigger from Lamoth. And we have gone nearly 2.5 minutes to start this game without a bucket. We saw Hampton working on a variety of sets during their walkthrough, really trying to perfect everything. Yeah, I mean, in situations like this, one of the things that they talked about was finishing plays. Beal to the cup, rolls out. That's going to be Aggie basketball. Kyrese Mullen will check in. Mullen led the team in scoring and reboundings last season, and to show you the roster improvement with 14 new players on this team, he now comes off the bench for Hampton. And we know Hampton's bench is potent. They can really go 9 or 10 deep. When we were talking to Coach Thomas, he said, we've got 5 or 6 different guys that can lead us in scoring in any given night. That's the depth of this team. Shell whips it. Glasper pump fake. Thought about dishing it one more time. Glasper no good. Lamoth offensive rebound. But with Hampton switching as much as they are on the defensive end, North Carolina A&T Aggies, they got to bait them to switch. Lamoth attacking the cup, and a foul on the play. You're the roar from the crowd that kind of drowned out the whistle. But finally a drive to the bucket, and that is the first foul on Beal, Avery. Yeah, and it's the crowd. This is a really good home court. Tonight, I guess there's nothing going on at 9 o'clock in Greensboro tonight. Tried to get the old-fashioned three-point play, Jonathan Lamoth. So Lamoth had a 22-point outing in the loss against Monmouth in their last game, and really is the X factor for this team as he gets the game's first point. Monte Ross was saying he's just a stat stuffer. He can find the open guy. Sometimes he can be a little loose with the basketball, but as he tightens that handle and the decision-making becomes second nature, he is going to be such a weapon for us. And, you know, 5 turnovers in the last game, and that's what, you know, in situations like that, that's what Coach Ross is trying to get him to be more efficient with the basketball. Yeah, had the early one in the corner where he dropped the pass, but either way, it's 2 free throws, and North Carolina A&T will take the early lead. Johnson, that high dribble, and that is the rare double dribble whistle you will see in today's game. And early on, you know, a recipe for a lack of success, missing layups, turning the basketball over. And when you miss layups, if you're not retrieving and getting some of those layups back, you're not going to have many second chance points. So lots of early subs for Coach Thomas to start the game, which is an indicator that he believes that his starters aren't ready to play. To your point, 0 points from their starters. They go with a line change. Noah Farrakhan, Trevor Smith, and Wayne Bristol Jr. step into the floor. You now have 4 bench players on the floor here for Hampton. Forrest
Pounding the orange up top. Here comes the switch.
Yep, that's the switch. Beautiful drive.
And Forrest gliding to the cup. That's what he does. The acrobatics in midair. Gets his first 2 points.
Yeah, looking to see if Forrest can get it going from behind the three-point line. We know he's a dynamic driver, but 0 for 5 from 3 in the last game, so let's see if he can mix it up.
Mullen trying to bulldoze his way down low. No bucket. Defense still holds on for the Aggies. Here's Lamote screaming down the floor. No whistle this time. Hampton will bring it back. They've got numbers to work with if they want. Smith will slow it down. Farrakhan, the long 3, off target, offensive rebound, ripped down by Long. He can't get it. Smith will tee it up from up top. It's good as it rattles home.
And that's the byproduct of Hampton's philosophy with offensive rebounding. You see, they'll have 3 or 4 guys going to the glass. That's the easiest 3 in basketball. After an offensive rebound, the defense then becomes discombobulated. Ooh, beautiful.
Shell lost him. Forrest at the cup. Can't miss it as it skirts off. Collision. Shell closes the deal.
I guess that little rest this morning and shoot around helped Mr. Shell. He conserved it all for tonight.
Well, Avery, you talked about it. It's a bit of a unique day. 9 p.m. is a late tip for anybody as far as finding your rhythm as you prepare for the game. Mullen, no good. Bristol was chasing it down. Tapped alive. Aggies bring it down. Forrest loses his footing, and Forrest took a hard fall.
Yeah, but you got to get back. You can't. Nobody feels sorry for you. You got to get back into play.
Bristol will try his hand on a 3. And nothing but net. And back-to-back triples puts Hampton up. Ties this up at 6 apiece.
And that's the X factor, in my opinion, for Hampton tonight. Wayne Bristol, the transfer from Georgetown, the grad transfer.
Glasper calling for a screen, eschews it, right into the cup, up and under, bothered at the summit, no whistle, back the other way. Hampton
got a 5-on-4, should get a wide open shot.
Another one for Bristol, off target.
You know what? He should have just shot the basketball when he first caught it. He kind of pump fake because he was wide open. The last shot, he just caught it in catch and shoot.
Avery, this is a long start to the game without a timeout yet. You're looking at nearly 13 and a half minutes. You're starting to see some huffing and puffing out here. Glasper, though, he's got fresh legs. Buries the deep triple. Ought to have young legs, Avery.
Yeah, and it's good when you're 1 for 12 in his last game and he knocks down that shot, man. Beautiful rotation on the shot. And I love when guys, they don't take how they played in a previous game. They just come out and they're aggressive.
And Kaliansis was ripped to the floor by Mullen. He's up, and he's got words for Mullen. Mullen will debate backwards in the student section here at North Carolina A&T. Obviously providing some excellent background music right there. And Mullen right now just trying to compose himself. We're going to take a timeout. It has gotten started, and it is live here right now, Avery, as Glasper knocks down the triple to give North Carolina A&T the early lead.
On CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Old Trapper Beef Jerky. What's your beef? And by AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Well, how about this? A young Avery Johnson looking upon this 9-6 lead for North Carolina A&T. And Avery, obviously your story's incredible. And
wait a second, I was going right on that dribble. I'm left-handed.
Well, how about this? Your all-time starting lineup from HBCU schools.
Hey, with all due respect to Willis Reed, there's so many players that could have been on my list. Bob Love from Southern, unfortunately passed away a couple of months ago. Love Bob Love. Earl Monroe, Sam Jones, and Oakley. I put Oakley on because he set so many hard screens on me in the league.
Well, was the play as physical back then as it was in this last sequence? Because you're going to see, after the missed shot, Kyrese Mullen and Stratos Kaliansis get tangled up. Kaliansis gets thrown to the floor, but then starts to jaw at Mullen. They go back and forth. It's ruled a double technical on both players, and that really turned the volume up in here.
And I'm Kaliansis. I wouldn't mess with Martin. We saw him this morning in shoot around. That's a grown man.
Yes, it is. Galiantis, the freshman from Greece, and Mullen, the junior from Norfolk, Virginia. So official has a talk with them and our officiating crew of Roger Ayers, Tim Clougherty, and Ron Groover. It's been a busy start to the game for them. And after all that, Avery, it's going to be Hampton ball on the baseline with 20 to shoot. Farrakhan, jumper in and out. Mullen, offensive rebound, eats that one up. Trims the lead to 1, and so far the rebounding advantage has been going the way of the Aggies. Here's Forrest, pestered near midcourt by 2 defenders, gets it over to Shell.
And when you're on the road, you have to keep your composure. Things happen in the game that you can't control.
Glasper, 3-ball, corner pocket. But then they lose Bristol in transition. Bristol, bit of a wild shot, trying to follow the miss. That was no good by Dan Bannister, who just checked into the game. Glasper hunting another one. Yes, sir!
Transition threes.
You got the longtime alumni up and waving the towels at this point here with a 7-point lead.
That's the best time to shoot a 3. Other than getting an offensive rebound, is in transition.
Mullen can't connect on the silencer. And the Aggies trying to build upon this run. Forrest, he'll try a triple off target.
That's a bad shot. Yep. That ball should have moved and found Glasper. Those are the ones, when you talk to North Carolina A&T Coach Ross, those are the ones he's trying to avoid, those shots.
Lamoth scoops up the air ball. You got a 9-2 run over the last 2 minutes for the Aggies. What we saw last time, Avery, felt like the hard hedge and almost trap coming from Hampton, and how the Aggies can work around that. Glasper was trying to draw the foul there, didn't get it, so it was long 3, no good.
Yeah, and that's back-to-back empty possessions.
Farrakhan comes right down and strings it.
Farrakhan, who was 3 for 3 from 3 in his last game, he continues his hot streak.
The drive from Lamoth goes left hand off the window.
What a fundamentally sound move.
And right back the other way, wasting no time as Farrakhan.
Yeah, I love when right-handed players can get downhill, going left, and finish with their left hand. That doesn't show up by osmosis in the game. That's because of practice.
Shell working in the paint, no good on the floater, follows it right back up and draws the foul. So Kamian Shell sat out practice, now on the floor with those bubblegum shoes, and gets a chance for an and-one opportunity.
Yeah, when you're talking about North Carolina A&T, if you want to protect your home court, get some loose balls. Even if you're 5'10", get in there and just scrap.
Person's job to carry that torch on to the next generation.
Somebody that guided with his words, moved with dignity, just overall empowered the culture, not just only for the black culture, but he always wanted people to see everything from all angles.
Martin Luther King legacy, it meant a lot to me. He helped the racists understand, like, we work together, it's better opportunity in the world for all of us.
There are certain people that sacrifice to make a difference for everybody. Maybe it started off for African Americans, but the changes that were made were beneficial to all humanity.
Just some incredible words as we heard from both head coach Ivan Thomas and Monte Ross. And Avery, when you hear Ivan Thomas talk about passing the torch from Dr. King, it's also the courage just to ignite that torch and realize that change needs to be made. And as we've said it before, the everlasting impact throughout generation after generation. And I thought it was put off really well by Monte Ross, that it's empowered and made the lives of everybody.
Yeah, and courageous is the right word, Jordan. When you talk about Dr. King, you know, another one of my favorite quotes is, and he was talking about whether you're in business, in life, if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. But more than anything, just keep moving. It's not about what you can't do, it's about what you can do. And he saw the best in people, and that's what I loved about Dr. King.
And so far, we've seen some of the best from Kamian Shell. The three-point play, 7-point lead for North Carolina A&T. How about Hampton? All of their points have come from the bench in the early going. This time, you see Smith working up top, trying to shake Kaliansis. 6 to shoot.
Yep,
Here's
he's got to
Johnson.
take that shot.
Yeah, baseline jumper's good. So Johnson, the first points for any Hampton starter, trims into the lead with under 10 to go here in the first half.
But that's the luxury that Hampton has with Coach Thomas. When you can go 9 and 10 deep, it's really an accountability model. If the starters aren't playing well, I can go to my bench.
Lamoth baseline fadeaway. Knocks it down, and the hot shooting here for North Carolina A&T, respectively. They came in shooting 41% on the season. Right now, 8 of 16 for 50%.
Yeah, you talked about it earlier. Coach Ross was really extremely high just on Lamoth.
Just like Farrakhan got really high right there. Glasper has already hit a couple of triples, and that'll bounce off the top of the backboard.
Yeah, nice little back down here by Jonathan Lamoth. And now we get a little bit of a back cut here on the lob. On those lob passes, you know, the key to really limiting success is tracing the ball. Whomever closes out on the passer, making that pass tough.
What did you want from your weak side defense on those lobs? Because a lot of times you hear coaches talk about communicating when they start to see that action develop.
Well, what you said is correct. There's no communication on North Carolina A&T's part. That's the problem. Hampton is eliminating the weak side. They're flooding the strong side, so that's where the communication comes in. Loud communication.
Back-to-back plays where they overload one side of the court. It results in 2 easy buckets for Hampton's. Now just a 3-point lead for the Aggies. Lamoth charging ahead, goes up with the left, can't sneak it in. Ball bats around. Lamoth scoops it up, powers right up, short again. Lamoth attacking it. This time Shell scoops it up. His jumper, no good. Shell again.
Now you'll see the Aggies reload, reset, get one of their sweet plays. Well, try
and
to.
a turnover is Johnson. Shoots the gap. Johnson trying to Euro step. Pass court accepted as the transition bucket is good. These rebounding numbers are impressive. 17-12 advantage for the Aggies. And this is without Hitakudis. Forrest hangs in hair for just an extra second, it feels like, as we get set to step aside in just a moment.
You know, I know we're in North Carolina, but hey, I like to go to Europe in a beautiful Euro step here by the young fella.
European football's most coveted competition is back. The UEFA Champions League begins at 2 Eastern tomorrow and Wednesday, right here on CBS Sports Network, and stream every match live on Paramount Plus. How about the start for Landon Glasper? Has all 3 of North Carolina A&T's 3-pointers here in the first half.
And we know Landon Glasper knows how to fill it up. He's had, 30 points in a game this season, and he does it in a variety of ways, but he's knocking down the 3-point shot. And look at this one in transition. That's a high-level 3-point transition shot.
You pointed out in their loss against Monmouth, they lost. He shot 1 of 12 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3, had 5 points. It was the first time all season he'd been held to single-digit scoring, and right now already responding here in the early going.
And that's what you need as a coach. Does a player drop his head? Does he have that poor me attitude, make any excuses when he doesn't play well? Or does he come out and really try to get it going and bounce back? And that's what Glasper's done.
Ryan Forrest, first free throw, no good, and that is one of the areas that Monte Ross said we've got to get better is free throws. They came in shooting 68.4% as a team. And there you see Forrest misses 2 in a row.
And what was he at last game? 7 for 14?
7 for 14 from the free throw line last game.
That's a lot of free buckets.
Pump fake by Xavier Long. And he'll reset the offense for the Pirates.
That's a big difference when you're 50% from the free throw line on 14 attempts. 7 points, and just the motivation for your team.
Farrakhan, an errant shot that bounces out of bounds. This is everything, and the student section lets him hear it. It's interesting. He comes down and points to his chest and says, "My bad," to Coach Ivan Thomas.
Coach said, "I don't want it to be your bad."
What would you do as a coach when a player would say that to you during a game?
Pray. It depends on the player. Some player, when he said it's my fault, he needs to be encouraged. Other players maybe need some forceful conversation.
Forrest compounding the missed 3 with a foul about 75 feet away from the basket. Just the second team foul on North Carolina A&T.
Oh, that's a
backdoor pass and thrown down. Unique Rink, the benefactor of the ball movement.
And one of the things we noticed this morning with Rink in practice, he was really getting a lot of action with both the starters and the backups. So, probably Coach Thomas had a plan for him tonight.
Johnson nails a 3, and Hampton has taken a 4-point lead. And Monte Ross wants a timeout for North Carolina A&T. We're going to step aside for 30 seconds, but the Pirates have overtaken this game.
Pass here from Hampton Pirates. The problem defensively is the weak side. He's pointing. He needs to be in here as the last line of defense in case something goes wrong, and he's not there. So poor defensive weak side rotation from North Carolina A&T.
And that's been the challenge for them this game so far. Either the weak side is cleared out, or when they are there, they're not deep enough in the paint in the right position.
Yeah, and it's not the high man involved in that situation, which was Lamote. It's the low man. It's always about the low man on defense.
Glasper, his 3 falls to the floor. No good. Ball bounces around. Forrest picks it up, trying to go body to body, and that ends an 11-0 run for Hampton.
And those are the situations when you're Rinking, you want to play and get some more time and get the coach's attention, you got to block that shot. When you're 6'10", 220, you got to reject it.
Quiet start to the game for Beal. He goes down low to Rink, who scoops it up with the left hand. Big fella with a little touch.
Big fella saying, well, Coach Avery, I can come back with a little Hakeem spin on the baseline. Hakeem the dream. The coach is trying to fire him up more on the defensive end.
Johnson and Rink have scored 13 of the last 15 for Hampton. Glasper, bit of a wild shot, couldn't get the call, and here comes Hampton. Farrakhan, no hesitation, gets to the free throw line. Pop a shot, no good.
So this is where you need some leadership from North Carolina A&T Aggies to settle the team down.
And Forrest bumped by Rink. That's going to be a foul on Rink. That'll be his second personal.
Little up and under. Power move for Forrest. And then Rink said, Coach, defensively I may not have executed exactly how you wanted, but here's a little left-handed scoop for you.
The freshmen that contribute for Hampton, you've got Richard Goods that starts, Daniel Johnson, who's obviously been on a tear, and then Rink. All three are freshmen, so the future looking really bright for Hampton. In and out jumper as Bryson Ogletree gets his first look of the game. Just over 4.5 minutes left in this first half. Hampton using an 11-0 run to get back into this game after trailing by as many as 6. Long blocked at the top. But then right there to catch the loose rock is Mullen, who draws the foul.
Beautiful pivoting pass in that situation.
It's the first foul on Shell. One more look. Mullen rolls it in. And Kyrese Mullen, we talked about this capable bench that has 22 of the 29 for Hampton, outscoring the North Carolina A&T bench 22-0. Second one no good for Mullen. Ball batted out of bounds. It'll be Aggie basketball.
And because North Carolina A&T doesn't really have a deep bench, you can tell Hampton, they're just running bodies in and out. Now they're in their 1-2-2 3/4 court defense, which they'll fall back into a 2-3.
Jalil Mackay, no good on his three.
He's open right here. You got to double team it. You got to double team him.
It's
Mullen. It's bad news.
Pump fake stepping through. Lamote trying to wrestle away the rebound. It's Mackay that gets it.
The Aggies got lucky on that one because once Mullen gets that deep in the paint, he normally finishes the shot.
North Carolina A&T won for their last 11. They haven't been able to find some of those easy looks, except for that one. Forrest, a heartbreaker at the rim.
We've seen quite a few missed layups in this game from both teams.
The officials are letting them play by the cut, by the way. There's a lot of contact in some of these finishes that they're letting both teams play through. Beal, his first bucket's a big one, and Hampton has built their largest lead of the game.
You don't want him to get going. That's great news for Hampton, considering, you know, the starters have really struggled in this game. But if Beal gets going.
Forrest fouled by Johnson on the drive. It'll be the first foul on Johnson.
We talked about George Beal Jr. And if you make a mistake and try to go under the pick and roll, you will. That's an insult to Mr. Beal.
With 3:03 left here in the first half. Well, coming up on AT&T at the half, Kiana Martin, Roy Hibbert, and John Rothstein will bring you the best highlights from today. And the North Carolina A&T Blue and Gold Marching Machine, directed by Dr. Kenneth Rupp, along with the dance team, will perform live at halftime.
Did you mention Roy Hibbert?
I did mention Roy Hibbert. He's loving how Georgetown's doing this year.
Yeah, he's a little happier. A little bit. Coach Ed Cooley. Tell him every time he tries to block my shot, I used to kind of throw those floaters on top of him.
Well, Hampton has built this 8-point lead, and Ivan Thomas in his first season, who really got his start at Providence, has been a collegiate coach for just over 10 years, was a longtime high school coach, has now had a chance to put his thumbprint on a program, and you see the change already. Hampton with 2 road wins this year. This is a program, Avery, that won a combined 4 road games the last 3 years.
And the one thing that Coach Thomas talked about, as the program continues to get more and more support, he's going to continue to help this program ascend to the next level.
Thomas had talked about just being able to build this program and the support he continues to receive at Hampton, and establishing leadership on a team with 14 new players. It takes some time, but things are really starting to come together like it has in this first half, where they started off a little bit slower, but now more rhythm. Johnson, though, missing that shot.
Yeah, Coach Thomas talked about his core values: energy, effort, enthusiasm, and toughness. Building men. I love that.
He's got that on a bracelet that he wears as well, too. So love those coaches that have those mantras they stick with. And Glasper sticks his 4th 3 of the half. He's up to 12 points now.
And speaking about some wonderful things that's going on, Coach Ross talked about they have a new weight room being installed here, and they're taking their program to the next level. Hopefully down the road, some sort of a practice facility.
Also players lounge, which is really important as well too. You know, you got to have a little window dressing here and there, but Long with an answer and a long three of his own.
Xavier Long.
The junior from Washington, D.C. Coach Thomas was saying every time we play in the D.C. area, he seems to have a great game, and part of that deep rotation for Hampton. Now the Pirates trying to lock things down on defense. The rotation a little bit overloaded. Spinning is Mackay. Throws it up. Lamoth was trying to track it down, but comes down to earth out of bounds.
And one of the points of emphasis for North Carolina A&T Aggies was defending the three-point line. Remember, they talked about it all morning. No threes. But they've given up a few too many threes.
Well, to your point, Avery, they give up about 24 attempts per game. Hampton with 15 in the first half, and normally A&T holds their opponent to 31% from outside. Hampton shooting 40% from beyond the arc. Beal getting to the cup and goes high off the glass. Under a minute left here in the first half. 10-point lead for Hampton. Shooting has really started to ignite late in the first half. In and out for Glassberry. Can't believe it.
And one of the things with Hampton, you notice that little triple screen on the baseline, the last possession. A little George Gervin finger roll from Noah Farrakhan.
Farrakhan now in double figures with 11 points. He leads all Hampton scorers. It's now a 12-point advantage for the Pirates. Aggies looking to hold for the final shot of the first half. It's going to be Shell to get things started. Ivan Thomas on the sideline screaming defensive instructions.
You don't want a cheap foul this far away from the basket.
They switch onto Shell. Goods gets the switch. And they're going to get a foul on Goods as he was trying to track Shell.
But in a situation like this, this is one of the things that used to drive me crazy. This play should have started at the 6-second mark because you don't want to leave Hampton with any time. 6 seconds is a long time.
And it puts North Carolina A&T in the bonus, and the team, as we've talked about, hasn't been hitting their free throw, so a one-on-one opportunity for Shell. And to your point, if they miss this, that's enough time for Hampton to get a shot.
Well, even if they make it, they can even take it out and set up your press offense. You should be able to get the ball near the three-point line and have an opportunity to score here if you execute in this situation. This is a special situation.
Let me ask you this. North Carolina A&T with just 3 fouls. Do you look to foul a couple of times to make sure it's not a clean, smooth possession?
No, I wouldn't.
6 seconds left. Both free throws good. Hampton.
Especially when you have a bench that's not too deep.
And they're going to try and track down Beal. Beal getting all the way to the baseline. Tries to dump it off, and a late turnover. And that'll be it for the first half. Hampton comes into town, and they build a 10-point lead, and that's the end of the first half with the score 39-29. And you see Hampton looking for their first win at Corbett Sports Center since 2016, nearly 3,500 days. 10-point lead for the Pirates. They're shooting 40% from beyond the arc. We'll send you to AT&T at the half right after these messages.
A&T. It is a 10-point game, but Roy, I want to get your thoughts on first half play.
Well, Coach Ivan for Hampton didn't like what he saw at first. His team was shooting 2 for 19 from the field, so he did a mass substitution, hockey style. Got all the starters out, brought the bench in. The bench got it done. Look at this right here. Nice little pull-up for Farrakhan from the 3. You back up, give him space. All right, he hit a 3. Now we're going to have a back screen. I don't know what that big man is doing on the back end. He should help his guard out. And again, another little lob to get it done. Hampton had 24 bench points. A&T only had 0. You know, the fact of the matter is they're playing strong. Their bench is coming along. The stars are slowly starting to drip in some points now.
Yeah, and Hampton finished the first half on a 24-7 run. A couple other CAA games to catch you up on.
Direction of Dr. Kenneth Ruff. It's a 10-point lead for Hampton. We'll get you set for the second half tip when we come back from Greensboro. For North Carolina A&T, that is CAA Commissioner Joseph D'Antonio, who talked about the depth of the conference this year, really standing out top to bottom, a very competitive league coming into this season. Jordan Kent alongside Avery Johnson. And Avery, you look at Hampton, and they didn't get much from their starters at the beginning of this game, but they go on a 13-2 run late in the first half to really distance themselves here in this one.
Hampton's done a really nice job of taking care of the basketball. Only 3 turnovers in the first half on the road. But the bench points have been amazing. You know, this bench has outscored the Aggies 24-0. And when you look at the bench, it's multiple guys on the bench that Hampton can go to. You know, Smith. But the key is Noah Farrakhan. This guy's been phenomenal on the dribble, knocked down the 3, sensational.
Farrakhan with 11 points. You see 24-0 advantage. And one of the reasons North Carolina A&T doesn't have a lot of bench points, they don't have much of a bench due to injuries this season. Keep in mind, Nikos Hidakoutis has been out for the last couple of games. He's week to week with an ankle injury. And then Will Felton, 6'9" center, the transfer from Arizona State, out for the season with a severe knee injury. So it's been heavy minutes for their starters. They were led by Landon Glasper with 12 points, 4 of 10 from beyond the arc in the first half. And for Hampton, a team that comes into tonight tonight. 9-9. A win tonight would eclipse their win total from last year. And how about Farrakhan? What he's been able to do to lead the charge coming off the bench and really settle this Hampton team.
Early subs by Hampton to start the game. Coach Thomas from Hampton, he didn't like the way the starters were playing. So the starters had an early hook. And you remember to start this game, Coach decided, hey, Richard Goods, I think he was the first one out of the game as a starter. So we'll see how they start this second half.
It's the same starters to begin the second half for both teams. Kalliansis wasn't much of an offensive threat in the first half. His hook shot too long.
And even in transition, Hampton is 13-3 in terms of transition points. So they just have it all working right now. They've only attempted 2 free throws, so we'll see if they can get to the free throw line.
Goods comes over, claims the offensive rebound, and puts it right back in.
I know Goods was a big part of the conversation at halftime.
Glasper behind the back dribble, up and under, and that has been the story for the Aggies. They can get to the cup, Avery, but they can't finish at this moment.
Yeah, finishing is a big key. Anytime you get downhill.
For this game, they're 6 of 18 on 2-point shot attempts. Lamoth curling his 3 off target.
One of the things Coach Ross talked about is, his team staying committed to the process, especially when things aren't going well. Whether it's during the game or lost, can they come back and practice hard?
And it's Beal, who was really quiet to start this game, but an impressive drive and finish there. Now a 14-point advantage for the Pirates, but then Glasper, who's been the only consistent offensive option, buries the J.
And this is one of those nights where Glasper, he's probably going to have to take 20 shots.
They took 10 from 3 in the first half.
Yeah, and just, lack of bench production. Landon Glasper was one of the guys coming into this game that we put in a star. We know he was going to come to play, but can somebody like Ogletree off the bench, can he be that X factor? They talked about how he's a great defender. He can make a 3. They're going to desperately need it because Hampton just has a different type of energy to start this half.
And they've been so efficient, Hampton has. They're already 3 of 4 to start this second half as Rice got his first bucket that last trip down the floor. But keep in mind, Forrest, who averages over 19 points a game, had just 4 points in the first half for the Aggies. This time gets the switch on the big. A 1-2 step through the lane, lost the orange.
North Carolina A&T, they've really been ineffective at attacking the switches from Hampton. Hampton is switching, in situations like this, a smaller guard, and North Carolina A&T is not making them pay the price.
Well, to your point, they're not really creating separation or spacing things out after the switch. It just stays jumbled. And a foul on the baseline against Forrest. That'll be a second personal.
Yeah, because Tyler Rice is switching on to Kalliansis. What would you do if somebody like Rice switched on you?
I would call for the ball, and I would make sure we vacate any of the weak side help, and I get a chance to go one-on-one.
You're my kind of guy, sir.
And Goods right now is the kind of guy for Hampton, the freshman. 2 big buckets to start this second half. They're really high on Goods. Obviously a lot of coaching and teaching for the youngster. As Glasper responds with a 3. And a quick timeout called by Monte Ross. It's a full timeout. So we will step aside, but Goods starting to grow up in front of our eyes here, Avery.
Yeah, when you get this type of penetration, bad things happen. And Richard Goods said, I wasn't good in the first half, but I'm good in the second half.
For Hampton, that is shooting 80% to start this second half, and it feels like, Avery, they've had tremendous success with dribble penetration and then just reading the help rotation from the big.
if you remember, at the end of the first half, they went coast to coast with 6 seconds all the way to the basket, but the pass was too hard. Now on this last drive, they took something off that pass. They went from a fast ball to a knuckleball. The closer you are in proximity, you can't throw a fastball. You got to soften that pass up. So it's good when you see teams learn and adjust and learn from their mistakes.
How about Monte Ross, the full court press coming out of the timeout?
Just trying to create some energy, especially when you're playing against a team that only has 3 turnovers.
To your point, Hampton's done a terrific job of protecting the basketball. They average 11 turnovers per game, and you saw that soft trap just trying to slow down Hampton, and now not a whole lot of shot clock to work with. 8 to shoot for Rice. Beal, long 2, off the glass. That's going to be a foul against Goods as he was clearing out some real estate.
And see, that's a win for the Aggies because a little soft 3/4 court press back into a matchup zone. And on that last possession, that's one of the rare times that Hampton looked a little unorganized.
It's the second foul on Goods. So he'll head to the bench with Daniel Johnson coming in. And for Monte Ross, these situations for a coach where you're down a couple of bodies, you're just trying to scrap for a win. You're 0-6 in conference play. Your last win was on December 28th against NC Central. What are you trying to communicate to your team throughout the second half as you fight back?
You want to make sure as much as you can that you're within 10 points when it gets under 10 minutes in the game.
Lamoth, step back triple. No good. Kaliansis stumbles, trying to get back into the action.
And you want the ball to touch the paint. Because when the ball touches the paint, good things happen. Because we talked about it. This is a team that has multiple dry possessions, empty possessions up and down the floor. So how can you reduce that? The ball has to touch the paint just like that.
Forrest, one of his cleanest looks. He's up to 6 points now. Just 12 paint points on the evening for the Aggies.
And here's the zone again. Now Hampton is in what they call 13, where they try to get Forrest in the middle of the floor, Farrakhan in the middle of the floor in their 1-3-1 offense.
To your point, that zone has slowed down Hampton the last couple of half-court possessions. Forrest loses Farrakhan and rises up, so back-to-back buckets makes it a 9-point game.
And Hampton is going to continue to see this 2-3 zone for the rest of the night unless they can score against it.
Farrakhan in the middle, free throw line jumper, pure.
That's it. That's the 13 offense. They want to get him in the middle. And he was a little bit more in rhythm. Came from the top of the key free throw line to slide into the middle of the floor.
Also interesting, you usually don't have a guard or a smaller player at that free throw line position, but the decision maker to help break up that zone. Forrest. Ball gets batted from behind. Kaliantis scoops it up and one for the big fella as he stumbles backwards and falls over Mullen. Remember, those two got tied up in the first half and got double technicals. But I think that one was unintentional.
So against this zone, nice drive right here. Beautiful move by Forrest. Look at the crossover. But get the loose ball, big fella.
Gone on a 9-0 run here, Avery.
Yeah, at one point, Hampton had a 16-point lead, but it's been erased because North Carolina A&T, they've been attacking the paint just like we talked about. They've been scrappy. The bigs have been getting involved inside. Little falling down there. I don't know if he was falling down trying to get one of the cheerleader's phone number, but he's back in the play.
Well, Kaliantis has a chance for a 3-point play. That was his first bucket of the game, and he can certainly draw a lot of attention as he rattles in the free throw. And now they have cut their largest deficit of the game in half with a lot of time left.
And see, just all about disrupting. Hampton got in a pretty good rhythm going against North Carolina A&T's man-to-man defense. Now they'll see what you can do against the zone.
Smith fires a 3. Lamoth almost got the board. Right now he's tied for his career high with 12.
But you notice Hampton sent 4 players. The only player that didn't go to the glass was the guy that shot the ball.
Farrakhan and another offensive rebound. Wayne Bristol puts it right back in.
And that's one of the things out of a zone. Can you rebound out of it?
It always felt hard in that zone because you're not matched up one-on-one. And a turnover on the other end. Numbers for Hampton. Long in transition, a bit of a stutter. Able to keep his composure. And 4 straight points in a row for Hampton makes the lead back up to 12.
Beautiful execution. 3-on-1. You have to make the defense pay.
Forrest thought about it this time. Rises up, absorbs the contact, and finishes with one hand.
You know what the byproduct of this is? When you're celebrating on offense, which Hampton was, and you don't get back and get matched up against Ryan Forrest, and then you have a late closeout in the corner by Mullen, and then you get beat.
Forrest misses the free throw. Now 0 for 3 from the line in this game. As you pointed out, was 7 of 14 from the free throw line in the last game. Layups and free throws. That's what Monte Ross was saying. We've got to be able to connect on more of those. Mullen powering his way inside, and the soft touch is good.
And Mullen, what does that sign? Does that mean you're too small?
Yes, too small.
I'm a little older, so I got to.
It's all right. Forrest amongst the trees gets the finish. Back on the other end. Farrakhan takes it himself, and an on-balance jumper. Nothing easy as he goes over Kaliansis.
Yeah, what a luxury to have a guy like Noah Farrakhan coming off your bench, knowing that he can fill it up at any time, at home or on the road.
He's got 15 points already. Lamoth whips it around. Ogletree, a dish, Kaliansis, and one of the best half-court offensive sets we've seen from North Carolina A&T.
And remember to start the half, even prior to him getting in the game, we talked about Bryson Ogletree. Can he have an impact on the game? We know he's exceptional defensively, but can he make some plays offensively to help a team that's struggling to score?
Farrakhan, no good, another tough jumper. Bristol trying to keep it alive, and Lamoth controls. Lamoth, the triple, knocks it down.
Remember this morning we talked about poor communication, and that's what the Hampton team was really stressing with Coach Thomas. So when you make mistakes on defense, these are the things that happen. Short passes, and then where's the help? There's no help.
The lead to 7 with 11:28 left in this one. Well, tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern, get caught up on all the latest basketball buzz from around the nation as our crew talks headlines and highlights on Inside College Basketball right here on CBS Sports Network. And Avery Johnson, how about this transition 3 from Lamoth?
Yeah, seeing basketball, you talk about sometimes you're not always losing, but you're learning. But right here, this is something with Kyrese Mullen. He needs to be up at the point of the screen, because if you're not up at the point of the screen, that's what happens. This coaching staff talked about loud communication, strong switches. You can't switch properly if you're not talking and if you're out of position. He was out of position and he wasn't talking, and the byproduct of that, or the negative, is a wide open 3 for North Carolina A&T.
And one thing we heard them talking about in practice as well too, and you brought this up, strong switches and making sure you come foot to foot when you make that switch.
Yeah, there was no coming together.
No. A lot of space between that right there.
Yeah, too much space.
So the Aggies have found their offensive rhythm. Shooting a sizzling 9 of 14 for 64% here in the second half. They go back to the man-to-man defense.
Back to the man.
3 to shoot. Beal fading away, has to chuck it up. No good. Lamoth in transition once more.
Boy, give the Aggies credit, man. They've done a nice job of switching up their defenses.
Forrest gets the switch onto the big. This time draws the foul, can't complete it. But Avery, they're getting to the cup and they're drawing fouls.
Breaking the defense down, touching the paint. Smart and aggressive. That's what wins.
Now, this is one of those situations that we heard from Monte Ross. We've got to hit our free throws to get back into these types of games.
And keep your eyes. That's what, 4 team fouls on Hampton.
And that's 4 missed free throws for Forrest, unfortunately. Still looking to make his first one from the stripe, sitting at 12 points. That was the 3rd foul on Xavier Long. And Unique Rink will check in for Hampton.
Are they 7 for 10 from the line now?
North Carolina A&T now 7 for 11.
7 for 11.
But they make it a 6-point game. Just over 10 minutes left. A reminder, they trail by 16 at the 17-minute mark.
So this is the flex offense from Hampton.
Rink trying to feed it out to Johnson. A couple of bodies go crashing underneath the hoop. Farrakhan once again continues the hot hand for Hampton, and they're going to clean up some spillage at the baseline.
Yeah, look at a little slip on the mop underneath the basket.
There's not a lot of space, it feels like, from the baseline to the basket. And one more look at the score.
Yeah, but look at the hustle. Farrakhan, man, I just love his body language this half.
So the previous play is under review, and right now they're having a conversation with Monte Ross, trying to determine what they're reviewing on the last play. Because there was a collision.
Was it an elbow from one of the Hampton players?
Here comes the elbow from Farrakhan, and that left elbow catches the face of Ogletree. And Ogletree obviously stumbling, and that frees up the opportunity to shoot the rock. But that looks like clear contact to the face.
Yep. I think this was a legal play. He just was swinging through, making a basketball move. There was nothing intentional about that play.
There is that balance of when a defender does stick their face out in there versus what is a basketball play and what's not a basketball play. So we'll come on over and get an explanation.
Yes.
So the officials, a great explanation. Avery, they said all they could do is apply a flagrant foul in that situation, and there wasn't enough there to warrant it.
No, there's no flagrant foul there. Yeah, beautiful. Quick review. Yep, nice basketball move. Just what I thought.
Now the distinction, though, Avery, is if this was whistled in real time, it can be whistled as a common offensive foul, correct? And they can't go back and rule it a common offensive foul by going to the monitor. Exactly.
Great job.
Well, some of your basketball greatness rubs off on me after doing enough games with you. So the basket is good. 8-point lead for Hampton. They're trying to go down low to Kaliansis, and sometimes that pass just comes a little too early.
And Hampton went to a zone, and North Carolina A&T was trying to feed it high, low, and it didn't work out.
Both teams have combined 12 for their last 14. Smith, the triple, just rolls out. And Lamoth continues to be a vacuum down low. That's his 14th rebound.
That was the right play offensively for Hampton. The ball just didn't go down, but beautiful extra pass.
Forrest, no good in the paint. Smith, attacking 2 defenders, loses the rock, dishes it off. And the Pirates will pause for a moment.
Yeah, now the Pirates are trying to get organized back into their flex action here. We'll see if they can make 2 or 3 passes, but you don't need it.
Rink.
You don't need the third
sinks
one.
It. No.
I I like Rink. I like the way he's playing today. He's good size.
Rink came in averaging just under 3 points per game. He's got 8 tonight. And again, another one of those players, those contributions off the bench to play above and beyond what they normally provide has allowed Hampton to not have to rely on just one player all season long.
You don't have a lot of 6'10" guys with his athleticism walking on the street, so that's a really wonderful pickup for Hampton.
Beal, step back two. Oh, that is a thing of beauty as he pads the Pirate lead. Forrest hiding in the corner, pump fake. Sacking the cup, bumps it in.
Still too much penetration. If you're Hampton defensively, first of all, give the Aggies credit for attacking the paint more in this half. But defensively, if you're Hampton, you're the Pirates. You got to be much more efficient on your closeouts.
Johnson's jumper off target. Another offensive rebound chased down by Farrakhan.
Man, the speed and acceleration in such a small space by Farrakhan.
There's a lot of action to defend on these Hampton sets in the half court. Johnson trying to bang against Lamoth and is going to be able to draw the foul on him. Lamoth, that's his first foul. Will we continue to celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on this special day here in Greensboro, North Carolina? Hampton up 10 on a day in which we remember and reflect. 1956 to 1960, then played with the Warriors for 11 seasons, then was the head coach for 13 years, then finally inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame in 2019. He passed away last year in August of 24, but his impact, not only at North Carolina A&T, but the way that it resonated throughout all of these HBCU programs, really an inspiration for so many players.
I had 2 separate stints with the Golden State Warriors when I was still playing in the NBA. And I had a chance to spend some time with Alvin Adams. He's one of the nicest people. His exploits on the court, immeasurable, but one of the nicest men. He knew how to treat people with respect and class. He was a class act.
It's the only jersey retired here in this building as well, and tremendous respect for him. And that's what it's about, Avery. It's not so much what you're doing on the floor, but the lives you impact off the court.
You know, I played here a long time ago.
It wasn't that long ago, Avery.
Al and I had some fun about that when I joined the Warriors. I'm not going to say what year it was.
No, listen.
But I played here against North Carolina A&T, and I think I had a pretty good game.
Beal with another offensive rebound putback, and what was once a 7-point lead for Hampton is now up to 13 with under 7:30 left to play. Shell, and that is knocked out of bounds before the foul. Correction, foul comes in before that.
Oh, wow, my coach, Ben Jobe. That was in 2015 at a press conference when I took over at the University of Alabama. He was living in Montgomery and came down to the press conference, and man, it was just an honor. I miss my coach. He passed away a few years ago, and man, we led the nation in assists a couple of times at Southern University. And, well, we were top 5 in scoring. I led the nation in assists 2 years in a row, but it was all because of not only wonderful teammates who we all keep in touch today on a group text, but Coach Ben Jobe, legendary coach.
There's an award named after him for the top assistant coach in the nation, and we'll get to the story here in a little bit, but when you were in college, they weren't selling you on hoop dreams necessarily. They were making sure you stayed grounded. And right now, it's this offense for Hampton that's doing anything but staying grounded as Beal hits a pro-level shot there.
Well, I tell you what, when I was at Southern University, I didn't make any shots like Beal. Completed.
He set people up for shots like that.
I didn't have
right?
that in my game, yes.
Lamoth knifing through the lane, takes a hard collision as he was met by Beal.
In situations like this is a young man that just has the hang time, the feel. He probably plays tons of one-on-one. He embraces situations like that. George Beal Jr.
That's the third foul on Rink, and that'll send Lamoth to the free throw line. And Lamoth with 15 rebounds, a career high for him. And they talked about how he has to step up with the injury to Hida Kudus, who was the team's leading rebounder coming in. And Lamoth misses the first.
When we were talking to Coach Thomas this morning about his extensive playbook, and he was like, yes, guys, they really need to know our plays. We have a million of them. But at the end of the day, when the play breaks down, just get the ball to George Beal Jr.
He'll bail you out. And how about Lamoth, his 5th double-double of the season. Now you saw a little bit more of an aggressive press come out. They'll retreat as Hampton will walk it down the floor. Farrakhan with 17, Beal with 13. Only 2 players in double figures for Hampton, but they've had 9 players score in this game.
And it's going to be really interesting as time moves on when Coach Ross really transformed this North Carolina A&T Aggies program, because you cannot complain about the home court. If you look at this crowd, you just need to give them something to cheer about. I mean, the band is here and the energy in the building. This is a home court advantage. It just needs to be transferred on the court.
And once they get healthy, too.
Yes.
Their last victory was against NC Central, where Hida Kudus had 22 rebounds and was a key piece of that offense. His ability to screen, catch, roll, and also pass as a big gave them an extra wrinkle that they just haven't been able to showcase tonight. Just 4 assists as a team. They go inside to Caliantes as he brings it down to the Piranhas. They chomp at it, and that'll be out of bounds, Aggie ball.
And the size of Hida Kudus, that's another 6'9" guy who's multi-skilled. You know, he was shooting 55% from the field, almost averaging a double-double, 9.8 points and 9 rebounds.
Lamoth with a 3. His rebounds lead the conference. It's good for 26th in the nation. There's not a lot of players out there averaging 9 rebounds a game, and that's been a very important piece that the Aggies have needed. A lot of collisions on the floor there as Farrakhan launches the 3 and then has some words for Lamoth afterwards. And now Farrakhan having a conversation with Ivan Thomas. There were some double technicals early. I think Farrakhan was upset about not having some landing space.
And a lot of times when you ask people to describe players, Jonathan Lamoth, my word for him is fearless.
They go inside. Rink working against Caliantes' fadeaway jumper, in and out. Lamoth fighting for it again, knocked out of bounds. And it looks like it's going to be Hampton basketball. Just enough from behind to dislodge it was long.
And when you're playing against Hampton, you can't turn and rebound. You have to make contact. They're too athletic.
As someone that oftentimes had to box out players that might have been a little bit taller, did you find yourself, as soon as the shot went up, not even looking at the ball and finding a body first?
His body first, 1,000%. Great point.
Glasper brings it down the floor. Ogletree thought it. And then we've got a foul, and that'll be the 7th team foul against Hampton with 4:50 left in this game. That's going to be the 3rd foul on Beal.
But free throws, and now we'll see if they can convert.
To your point about the free throws, Forrest is 1 for 5. The rest of the team is 9 of 10. So here's Glasper with 17 points. Started off hot with those 3 made threes in the first half. First one's good.
If you're Hampton, you have an 8-point lead and you've only attempted 2 free.
The officiating has been consistent, I will say. You've seen the same type of contact on both ends of the floor, and as a player, you can adjust if a game's called tight or if a game's called loose, as long as it was consistent.
And I'm saying this not because I'm sitting here with you. I have no problems with the officiating. No, I'm serious.
Neither do I. I'm with you. Listen, there's a lot of contact in this game here. We've got players that have to attack the cup at 100 miles an hour. They've done a good job of differentiating what's been extra contact or not.
And remember, before the game, I shared with you, I said we have a really good officiating.
You did, yes. Know them on a first-name basis. So 10 to shoot here for Hampton. Big possession with only a 7-point lead. Johnson in the paint, pivoting, fading away. It's short. And Lamoth, 16 boards. Aggies could make it a 2-possession game here.
Got a mismatch inside. Throw it over the top. There
they go to Kaliotsis. His bucket's good. And we've got a 5-point game. Timeout, Hampton. And slowly and surely, the Aggies construct an 8-0 run. They've made 10 of their last 12 shots, Avery.
Yeah, we've been asking, can you attack this mismatch, please? Feed the big fella. Nice seal inside. Weak side help is late. Hampton by 5.
Of the game, and we go with Noah Farrakhan. That has epitomized the bench scoring for Hampton.
Yeah, and he's done it a variety of ways. Pull up three in transition, the lob game, spin with the finger roll, and then the in and out dribble over the big guy. Fading away. Very impressive. 17 points, 5 assists, and 3 steals for Mr. Noah Farrakhan.
The graduate player is on his 4th team in 5 years. Has been at East Carolina, Eastern Michigan, and West Virginia, but has really found a nice home here as instant offense off the bench. But now it's a 5-point lead for Hampton. They call the timeout. What are they looking for offensively? They're 0 for their last 5. We've seen a couple of tough twos taken from them.
And the guy that we just talked about, you got to get the ball to number 1. Number 1, and let him be the guy to create. The rest of the guys, you know, Goods, when he was in, he tried to come back and play a little bit better, but they got to get the ball to number 1.
It's man-to-man for the Aggies on defense. A couple of baseline screens coming for Farrakhan. 10 to shoot. Johnson, baseline jumper, skims off the rim, and the Aggies bring it down. Pirates now 0 for their last 6.
And you notice that Hampton is a little bit smaller. They're not playing either of their centers. They've gone a little smaller with Long at center.
Last for a baseline jumper, too strong. And a big-time rebound secured by Long.
Quality, efficient possessions. I want Noah Farrakhan to take this shot on this possession. What type of offense can you get him and get everybody else on the glass?
Bristol, a 3. Oh, a big-time dagger from Bristol.
And remember, Bristol was my plan B.
I'll make a note of that. 8-point lead for Hampton, but right back on the other end is Forrest, who comes up limping just a little bit after landing.
And when you look at Wayne Bristol, you're thinking, coming into this season, Hampton, if he can score double figures, right? Basically the way the first go around when he played at Howard, he averaged 12.5 points. If he can get back to that offensive possession, it takes Hampton to the next level on a consistent basis.
Forrest knocks down a big free throw there. Ogletree will check in, replacing Shell. So with 2:48, Avery, are you thinking, if you're Hampton, to whittle down this shot clock a little bit, or are you just taking the best available shot you get?
I'm taking the best available shot as soon as I can get it. You don't want to be, you don't need to play inside or 7 seconds on the shot clock. If the shot's there at 17 or 10 seconds, take it. The clock is definitely your friend, but you don't want to be passive. Now you need to get serious.
Beal, he'll try the triple. In and out, Lamoth.
But you can get a better shot than that. That was a closed-door three, contested three.
6-point lead for Hampton. Aggies are in the bonus.
Now you're going to see switching 1 through 5 for Hampton on defense.
Lamoth kicks it to the corner. It's Forrest working against Beal. Forrest, his triple, knocks it down. We've got a 3-point game. The Aggies, winless in conference play, have yet to win in 2025, trying to come back into this one. Farrakhan, his triple, no good. And that's going to be some friendly fire off the hands of the Aggies. Gives it right back to Hampton.
And now we got this crowd in the game. Step back from Forrest, Mr. Forrest. And look at the crowd.
1 minute and 37 seconds left. It's a 13-3 run for the Aggies.
Yeah, and who can execute?
Farrakhan curling, loses his feet. And there's going to be a foul called on Kaliansis. They get him with the shove. That's his second foul, but just the third team foul against the Aggies. He kept the pivot foot down, but then gets knocked there, even though that right foot slides. There's a long slide, right?
Yeah.
Some would say even electric.
Yes.
So Bristol to inbound it from the sideline. They get it back to Farrakhan. Hampton with 1 timeout remaining. Long, the pump fake goes right by Kaliansis. Student section going wild, and they lose their minds as a foul is called. They thought they had the defensive stop, but that's going to send Hampton to the free throw line. And fouls on glass for his first.
And give North Carolina, ooh, that looked pretty good.
Crowd seeing the replay, they don't love it. That sends Xavier Long to the line for 2. He's a 66% shooter on the season. First one's good.
Yeah, that.
Does he get the right wrist of Long? It looks like he came in with 2 hands. One hand got ball, the other hand got a lot of wrist.
Looked like it from the angle that we had on that last angle. Looked like he got all ball. And you can understand this. This is a heated game. You know, Coach Ross is not trying to show up the officials. It's an emotional game.
Long calmly knocks down 2 clutch free throws. 5-point lead for Hampton. The drive, lowers the shoulder. And they're going to count the basket because it was a goaltend coming in late by Richard Goods, the freshman. And I don't know if that ball was going to go in or not. So a foul on the floor, count the basket, and a 3-point opportunity for Shell.
It didn't look like, that ball looked like it had no chance to go in.
The ball hit the backboard first. And they're going to review this because, Avery, here's my question. Can they determine that the shot wasn't good, or is it still considered a valid shot attempt as long as the ball is in the air, regardless of where it hits on the backboard?
It definitely hit the backboard first. Yeah, you got to count that basket.
Basket is good. And it's such an interesting look because you don't see that every often. You know, in football, obviously, they can wave off a flag if the pass is uncatchable. It's still considered a valid shot, regardless of the angle it's taken.
Yeah,
had no chance.
The ball was still going up. Yeah, even if it was going to hit off the backboard and hit the side of the rim, that's not the official's problem. That was a poor decision. And the one thing you want when you're playing the game, you're trying to protect the lead. You don't want to depend on luck, and you don't want to depend on calls from the officials. You got to control what you can control. And right now, Hampton, they're beating, not even if they're in the lead, their poor decisions is helping North Carolina A&T Aggies continue to shrink this lead.
Shell, three-point play, makes it a two-point game. And a tough break for Goods, the freshman from Greensboro. Now, Avery, I have to ask you, you've got 4 fouls only as a team for the Aggies. You try to play a little bit more aggressively on the ball.
You do, yep, knowing that you have 4 fouls. Here's the flex offense from Hampton, trying to get players touches. Here's another flex cut down screen. Now, they'll probably end up in some sort of a isolation here up top.
Beal, step back triple. No good, long rebound. Farrakhan can't get to it, so at 39.2 seconds, 9-second differential between shot and game clock. Aggies trail by 2. What are you thinking about the clock here if you're the Aggies on offense?
First, before I answer your question, just poor shot selection from Hampton. But offensively here, you know, as you're coming down the floor, you know, obviously you're going to try to get the ball.
The officials are looking at the clock right now, trying to determine how much time should be left on the game clock. Now, there's a conversation here, Avery. It's a one-possession game. If you're North Carolina A&T, are you trying to score with as much time left as possible, or are you trying to take this down?
Oh, no, you're not trying to take it down. You're trying to score. Yeah. You running your offense. You're trying to run your offense. Now, sometimes if you in a situation like this, if it's in your game plan, a quick 2-for-1, but not enough time. They're going to call a timeout.
So Glasper brings it down the floor. North Carolina A&T calls timeout. Each team with 1 timeout remaining. We're going to step aside. The Aggies trailing by 2. Shot and game clock. Possession arrow favors Hampton. So the last handful of meetings between these two teams, it has been rather exciting. An 11-point victory for Hampton back on December 3rd of 2024. And then a 1-point victory for North Carolina A&T. A big shot at the near horn. And then a 1-point victory with 1.2 remaining for North Carolina A&T. They would love to replicate that same result here. Avery, your team is in the bonus. You've made 5 out of your last 6 shots. What are you looking for on offense for the Aggies?
The Aggies are going to run some sort of a pick and roll to try to get Forrest downhill. And if the defense tries to go under, he'll step back and shoot a 3. But they want to touch the paint. And with 25 seconds left on the clock, you got plenty of time. You don't need to be in a rush. You want to make sure that the court is spaced properly. All 5 players know what their responsibility is offensively.
For the Hampton defense, we have seen the Aggies really make an effort to just drive extremely hard to the cup. Defensively, what's going through your mind?
Well, they got to stick with their switches. When they've tried to show and get back, that hasn't been effective. The Aggies have only made Hampton pay 1 time for switching. So I would go back to my switching defense to make sure there it is, to make sure you don't have any issues.
They give it to Glasper. Glasper with Farrakhan on him. 10 seconds to shoot. Glasper driving from near half court. He is fouled on the floor. That's going to send him to the line. And that is the 10th team foul on Hampton.
And you notice the Aggies tried to get all the way to the basket. Yeah, he's not in legal guarding position. You can see the forearm, the right forearm.
At the line for 2, number 7.
Glasper with 19 points on the night can tie the game at the line with these 2. First one's good. Monte Ross, it was the first thing he brought up in the shoot-around. When it gets to late game situations, we've got to capitalize. Hits both free throws. Ties it up at 73 apiece. 18 seconds left. And Avery is very mindful not to say the word free throw when he was at the line. Not to jinx that situation. And now this crowd is louder than they've been all night long. But for Hampton, you now have a chance to get the final shot of the game. You haven't hit a field goal in the last 2 minutes and 42 seconds. You've had this slow developing flex offense. How do you get a quality look with only 18 seconds to shoot here?
Remember at the end of the first half when Hampton attempted the shot, or North Carolina A&T attempted the shot with 6 seconds on the clock? You want to get the last shot. You do not want to leave any time on the floor. So I would space the floor right here. You know, obviously, you know, George Beal took that bailout three. Get the ball in the Farrakhan's hand, and let's see where he can go to his right. Some sort of dribble handoff. Let him come off with his right hand and try to get downhill and clear the side for him. I would clear the entire right side for him.
They've had some success when they're able to eliminate the weak side help. Farrakhan has been the hot hand, 17 points, 8 of 18 from the field. 4 fouls for North Carolina A&T. We've asked it a couple of times now.
Yep.
You keep that in mind if you find yourself
in a bad way. This is a good time to foul, not in the act of shooting if you find yourself in a big way.
It's Farrakhan.
They fouled, so good. They're taking it smart.
It's the 5th team foul against the Aggies. Ogletree is second. No player for the Aggies has more than 2 fouls right now. So 11.5, 1 timeout remaining for Hampton, 0 timeouts remaining for the Aggies. Hampton trying to win on this floor for the first time since 2016. Farrakhan and Beal have been the efficient scorers. They foul again, but Avery, that was only 1.5 seconds, and now the next foul is going to put him in the bonus.
Yeah, to see the problem I have with that one, he's got his back to you at half court. Let him turn and face a little bit, take 1 or 2 dribbles, and then foul. Maybe 3 more seconds will come off the clock. I understand the intent, but that's really poor execution in that situation.
To your point, there's not much of a difference between 11.5 versus 10 seconds versus if it's 3 or 4 seconds. You heard Monte Ross screaming no fouls. 6 to shoot. Farrakhan gets the screen, dumps it down low. Long to pump fake. And bodies crashing everywhere, but a wise heads-up move by Long to be patient, and now he can go to the free throw line and try and give Hampton the lead with 2.4 seconds remaining.
Yeah, excellent pump fake here by Xavier Long. He knew there were shot blocking was coming. Wow, and looked like he would have gotten fouled a second time. Ogletree fouls him.
So Xavier Long will step to the line. The 66% free throw shooter hit 2 clutch free throws earlier.
Yep.
Shooting 2, that's the important thing. He was in the shooting motion. Hits the first one. No timeouts remaining for the Aggies. 2.4 seconds left.
And maybe if they were at half court without those bad fouls, they would have gotten into this place late. And here's an opportunity to potentially miss the shot. With 2.4 seconds to go, coach is giving him some instructions. He missed it.
A soft miss.
Gotta throw
Forrest,
it up.
clock winding down for the win.
Nope.
No good. The Pirates coming to Greensboro and pillage their first victory on this court since 2016. And an excellent performance from Noah Farrakhan, 17 points, 6 assists. For North Carolina A&T, they were down a couple of bodies. A courageous performance from Jonathan Lamote, 13 points, 17 rebounds. They get 20 from Forrest, but another heartbreaker for the Aggies.
And the Aggies showed a lot of tenacity here in the second half. This team really came to play. Wonderful attempt by Forrest, just couldn't get enough on it. But this crowd, even though they're leaving disappointed, they're not going to be dismayed because this team gave it their all in the second half. And then if you're Hampton, Sometimes your bad luck is your good luck. And they had some bad luck here at the end of this half.
Hampton has eclipsed their win total from last year. They're now 10-9. They get the 74-73 victory on Martin Luther King Jr. Day as we celebrate that. For Avery Johnson and our entire crew, I'm Jordan Kent. Your final score, 74-73 Hampton. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.